If you were considering living in or around the New York City area because of your job, there's a lot of things that I wish I knew about when I started and when I first got here, because when you get here, when you get to New York City, you are going to be like a deer in the headlights when it comes to everything. There is so much to adapt to. Me personally, I live in Jersey City, so my daily commutes into the city is me taking a quick shuttle from my apartment building to the PATH trains, which actually, believe it or not, even though I'm in Jersey City, takes me to Hoboken. So I get on the Hoboken path, take a subway to my office. That's what I've been doing for a long time. And when I started out, I was absolutely terrified. So I wish there was a video like this with just little details about what it's like to actually either live in New York City or commute into the city. One of the first things, obviously, as a New Jerseyan, people are going to tell you that you are not part of New York City if you live in Jersey City or Hoboken. I call bullshit on that because I take pride in where I live, but realistically, like literally right behind me is New York City. I could see it from this porch that I'm on right now. It's that close. It's like the equivalent to Brooklyn, whatever. It's the New York area. I don't want to hear that bullshit that it isn't. Whatever. Anyway, this video is just a list of things that I've taken note of that I think would be really important for you guys who are commuters to learn. One of the first things is you will quickly learn to adapt to the walkers in New York City, and you will have to sink or swim, because it's not just like some suburban town where you could casually, slowly walk. As a matter of fact, if you see that happening, it's going to piss you off. It also depends where you're at. If you're in like West Village, maybe you could get away with it. But if you're in Midtown Manhattan, like by Times Square, and your commute is there every day, you're going to have to sink or fucking swim. There's no shot in hell you're going to be walking that slow. And if you do, it's going to be at a detriment to you. Believe me on that. So one of the biggest things I could recommend is adapt and learn to walk fast. And you'll see when you're doing your commute, and you'll see in general, there are things that are going to piss you off. Believe it or not, one of the most annoying things to me is slow walkers. It's worse than road rage for me personally. You'll notice when you're on the subway platform and you're coming up the stairs, there's etiquette, right? And I say this to you so you know. The slow people should be on the right side. The fast people, or the people for disabilities, or people coming down, should be on the left. All slow traffic on the right, all fast traffic on the left. There's going to be a lot of people you're going to encounter that just middle it because they're not from around here and they don't know where to go. You're also going to encounter a lot of people like weaving, doing the weave while they're walking and all of that stuff. Nothing drives me more insane than that. So my first point, and I can make a whole other tangent about the slow, dumb walkers in New York City. I'm not going to do that, but my thing to take home to you is it is sink or swim. If you walk really slow, people are going to walk right through you. People are going to get pissed at you, and eventually you yourself will get pissed at other people. So learn to adapt quickly, because this is not a city that is for the faint of heart when it comes to walking. It is literally like a highway, constantly walking around the streets of New York City. So that is one of the biggest ones. Another thing that I want to make abundantly clear, and this is no particular order, by the way, guys, but another thing that I want to make particularly clear is people in the media seem to think that New York City is the Walking Dead. News agencies, wherever, they make it out to seem like New York City is so awful all the time. Everywhere you turn, someone's going to get robbed or stabbed or whatever. And that is not to negate the fact that that stuff happens on a daily basis all around the city. It certainly 100% does. However, I lived in Philadelphia, right outside of the Philadelphia region. I spent my whole life, and I felt probably 10 to 15 times more unsafe in that city than I ever did in New York City. Does that mean that New York City is safe? Absolutely, positively not. But it is leaps and bounds ahead of some other cities. That is to say, if you're in Midtown Manhattan, if you're in the lower part of Manhattan in general, you're mostly going to be okay. One of the biggest things that you have to watch out for is subways, because it is true that if you're on a platform late at night and there's no one in the car, you should not get on that car. It's also true that you should not stand near the edges of the subways, because people do get pushed. That does happen. And you should always still watch your six and stay with headphones, at least if you're going to have them on, at least turn noise canceling off, because you should be paying attention to your surroundings. Last year, there was a guy walking around punching women in the face, I think in West Village. So just because you don't see it on the daily basis doesn't mean it doesn't happen. My advice to you is to just be smart, be street smart and cautious. Actually goes to my point of learning to adapt with walking in the city. Learn to adapt with safety in the city. Be wary, pay attention, don't be an idiot. That's one of the biggest things that you'll learn quickly. Do not be a fucking idiot. Because even though, like I said, I feel safe, and a lot of that is attributed to safety in numbers, because there are so many people in the city that it makes it easy to just feel like you're adapting in with the huge herd of people. But that doesn't make it safe, obviously, because of a lot of reasons. There could be terrorism, there could be one-off incidents, pickpocketers, all of that stuff. Be careful, especially in the subway platforms. And one of my biggest pieces of advice that I heard the other day, speaking of subways and platforms and all of that, I said it in the beginning of this, but if you see an empty train car and you're pondering getting on that empty train car, or maybe there's like one other person in there, do not get on that one. Get on one where there are more people. 100%. This happened, actually, believe it or not, on the Hoboken Path trains, which I can't believe, but someone I know was on the Hoboken Path, and there was only 2 other people in the train car with them, and one of them pulled out a knife and almost stabbed this guy I know. Absolutely insane. And that goes to show, if they were on a more crowded train car, maybe you couldn't avoid that, but at least there's a little bit more safety in numbers, more people around, maybe a path worker, something like that. But the same rule applies to the subway, and if not even more in the subway, because I will say you do see a lot more stuff in the city. So just be safe, go with people, spend your time doing that with people. So that's a big point as well. Another thing that I want to bring up, this is a small point, but this is absolutely true and goes back to my walking point. You'll notice that if you're not adapting to the walking, New York walkers will walk right through, like they won't move out of the way. They don't do that. This is a big thing I noticed. This was actually when we first moved here. I used to complain to my girlfriend all the time. I was like, have you noticed that like no one moves out of the way? They don't do that. That's why I'm saying you got to learn to sink or swim here, because people will not stop for you. So do not stop for them. Walk fast, do your thing. So just expect that to happen. That's it. That's a big thing. Another thing that I wanted to talk about as well, this is a small detail, but one that gets often overlooked, is umbrellas. It is like fucking umbrella wars in the city when it's raining out, at least in Midtown Manhattan. My girlfriend works in West Village. I work in Midtown. So the difference between there is insane, but nonetheless, all the streets are really tight. So when you're walking with umbrellas, it is literally like an umbrella war. So just that's something that I would think about for sure. Another thing that I wanted to bring up too is pizza. A lot of people, this has nothing to do with commuting and all of that stuff, but everyone thinks New York is like the pizza capital of the world. And maybe if you're from Ohio, it is. I grew up in the tri-state area, and honestly, I was never impressed by the pizza here. There's way better culinary experiences in New York City than the pizza. So if I were you, I would prioritize trying to get to like Fort Charles, Cote, Don Angie, all of that over trying every slice of pizza in the city. There are some that are really good, but like don't get fooled into the John's on Bleecker Street being like the best pizza ever. The only one that I could highly recommend is like La Industrie. That one is really good. There's one in West Village in Brooklyn. Highly recommend the West Village one. Very, very, very good. But I'm just saying, a lot of people say it's like the best thing in the world. New York pizza, oh my God. If you're from the tri-state area, it's no different than Jersey pizza, some Philly pizza, obviously Connecticut's a great one. It's no different than that whole region of space, that whole area. So don't get fooled too much by that. There's probably about a million more things I could tell you. These are just the ones that were quick off my head, some fun ones, but some get more serious. So if you want to see more, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you want to see, and I'm happy to do it. That's just my quick rant about things things in New York City to watch out for if you're a commuter and all of that stuff. With all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video, and until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.